Hello, everybody. Bill Clinton here. I've come to say Ariana Grande has a great ass. And this is the Generic Lucky Shoe Podcast.
You gotta say it in his voice. I just came here.
Oh, yeah.
Here to say that Ariana Grande.
She got that fine
ass.
booty. Oh, yeah.
There,
That was less
there
Clinton
we go.
and more some...
Don't tell Hillary.
Oh, she knows. She's seen the video. Oh, man. I hope
did
everyone...
not have sex with that woman.
I hope everyone's seen
Ariana
the
Grande.
video I'm referencing, because otherwise it's just going to seem very out of the blue. But there's this video of Bill Clinton at an Ariana Grande performance, and he's just staring like dumbfounded at her butt for a solid minute, and it's precious.
Holy!
Oh, I never knew this. I never knew this was happening.
It's so bad. It's super duper obvious, and he's just staring at it the whole time.
I'm gonna look this up.
Damn, if I was still president, you know what I would be doing right now? Doing to that ass.
Whoa, mama. Bill Clinton just becomes Johnny Bravo all of a sudden. Hot mama. Hee-hoo-ha. Super good.
You want to get shaken, baby?
Do the monkey with me, Ariana Grande. Do it.
Oh my god!
Did
It's such
Johnny
a creep.
Bravo ever get a girl?
I don't think he did. I think for he got a date one episode.
It probably didn't turn out well for him,
Huh.
though. That was kind of the running.
Yeah,
Probably not.
and then
Is
he
that-
got his memory got wiped or something. I think it was a Valentine's Day episode.
I remember there, like,
Ah,
in like 20-something teen, there was like a thing where people were complaining about Johnny Bravo being all sexist and stuff, and the show being like a really bad influence for kids. But if you watch it, it's not like his strategies are successful whatsoever.
no.
It's not teaching you
He
that
gets
this is a
smacked
good
down.
way.
He legitimately gets like slapped and beaten up, and like women just beat the shit out of him. Consistently, he gets beaten the fuck out of.
It's definitely not an endorsement of the Playboy lifestyle. Maybe
And
the
there was an
content.
episode.
There are different.
Well,
There
man,
was an episode dedicated to shitting on men. That one time where Johnny became a woman. Have you seen that one?
oh, I think I vaguely remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And the conclusion was that women are smart, men are dumb.
Yeah. That's like, I feel like almost every show has that.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, women are always right. Right?
Exactly.
Yes, of
Remember
course.
when our high school I always call high school teachers professors now that I've been through college. Remember when our
They're the farthest thing from professors.
I know. Remember when our high school teacher on that field trip told you that ladies are always right when we were having a discussion at the dinner table about politics, and he was like, "Oh, don't argue, Raj. Women are always right."
This was at a time when I was very argumentative. I absolutely probably did not respond well to that.
Yeah, I think you actually responded better than you would think for it being you in that situation.
Me being me on a incredible amount of antidepressants to the point where I couldn't function if I went off it for a day.
Just wombo antidepressants.
Oh yeah. Like it was to the point where if I went off for a day, I legitimately would, like, the entire world would feel off. My emotions would be just skewed to nothing. And I could go from like super happy to threatening to like strangle someone in a heartbeat. And that's not an exaggeration. Like, it's kind of scary.
Yeah, antidepressants are fantastic. Good times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on 2 of them right now. I'm on both Lexapro and Weltrebin.
Are those
And,
both-
How is that going?
I don't know. It's only been a few days, so I'm still adjusting to it.
Ooh.
Still feel a little
Oh,
dizzy
yeah,
and
those are
queasy.
fun. Yup.
But yeah, I was on 20 milligrams of Lexapro, the highest amount, but it wasn't
Ooh.
really. Yeah, my depression got really bad, but yeah, it came to a point where it wasn't helping me because I could barely think, I could barely get out of bed.
Yep.
Been sleeping like 13, 14 hours every night.
Yep.
Yeah, it
Marcus
wasn't
remembers
good.
me when I had that.
So
See, when you say 20 milligrams, I was thinking at first, like, that's baby numbers, because when I was on antidepressants, they put me on 150 milligrams.
Of what?
Like venlafaxine.
What's it called?
Venlafaxine. It's basically a super addictive antidepressant. Like, it's massively addictive.
And the vaccine. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, there's I feel like the conclusion that Raj and I've come to after at least his experience and observing him is that antidepressants don't make you feel good or happy. They just make you not want to kill yourself. But they could make all of the other symptoms of depression worse, as a matter of fact. They could make you more tired,
In my
less
experience, they
energy.
did.
Yeah. They can actually make everything
they
that
made it all
depressant does to you other than suicidal thoughts, but actually worse instead of better.
And sometimes they even make those worse.
Yeah, I've noticed that my when I get drunk, like I feel worse than
Yeah, no. Don't want to mix those two. Those
yeah,
bad idea.
yeah.
Raj did it a couple
I've learned
times.
Bad.
I learned that last night, right after I started taking this new medication, and holy shit, like I swear to God, like I cried 30 minutes in the bathroom.
How
Like,
was your
and I was
stomach?
just being all today
Or
very queasy.
yeah.
I didn't
Raj
throw up
had
or anything.
some really bad experiences. I'm speaking for Raj a lot.
No, it was true because I would Marcus and I have been friends for a long time. So he would just randomly call me whenever the college he just wants to talk, or I would call him back, and it just when the time would come, I would just be like, I can't do it. And my ex or my girlfriend at the time would just be like, dude, he's like your best friend. When he came over, I felt like a third wheel to you too. Like, you love this guy. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't do it. I just can't. Marcus would consistently have to call me, initiate everything, and even then it was it was just you could tell that things were just wrong and off. And from what I've heard from him, and Marcus can attest to this, just apparently my smile was forced, and I couldn't it didn't even look like I was smiling or trying, and it just felt that I had no passion for anything.
Right.
I can't really remember too well about what was going on. So, Marcus, how did you view me? That's a good transition. How did you view me while I was on antidepressants?
You just didn't react to anything, really. All of your reactions were very muted and subdued. And you wouldn't get really mad or anything, but you would only get you'd get annoyed, and then you'd start going off on people, and you would have no remorse about it either. Even how you interacted with people, you were a total dick at times to people because you just had no care about how they were feeling about it at all.
Nah, I probably found it amusing. It probably made me feel amused, so that offset my annoyance at them. I just nothing. I just couldn't feel anything. It's why did you do this? I don't know. I couldn't feel anything.
Yeah, you said that a lot, actually. Those exact words.
Now, Marcus, how do you compare that to my experience? How was I when I first got on antidepressants?
Honestly, I'd say it was pretty similar. You just kind of got sleepier. You're a lot less energetic than you used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I haven't seen you in person very much this summer, which makes it hard because you only recently got on them. So I haven't had as much experience with you post antidepressants other than on Discord, and I can't read your body language.
Right.
But I'd say your tonality is definitely you're less dynamic.
Huh.
And
well, goddamn.
Sorry.
I would say I was very apathetic. Well, not apathetic, but when I first started taking it, I just didn't really care about a lot of things. All I cared is my playing video games and enjoying myself in the moment. That was the only thing I cared about. I just stopped caring what other people thought of me. I stopped thinking about all the pressures in life. And I was basically a lot more present. But over time, like the antidepressants, they helped me like deal with those emotions. But the problem with me is that I let it do all the work.
What do you mean by
Basically,
that?
well, like I wasn't taking care of myself. Like I
Mm.
wasn't sleeping right, wasn't eating right, wasn't exercising as much as I should because I just thought to myself, "Oh, the antidepressants will just take care of all my negative emotions." And then all the horrible events 2020 happened, and then my girlfriend at the time broke up with me, and then that's when it came all crashing down.
And it just wasn't enough to subdue it anymore. And you kind of
Yeah.
broke through it.
Yep, I broke through it.
So now they're heaping you on more, or did you want to get heaped on more?
Yeah, I wanted to get heaped on more because I just didn't want to deal with it. But then now the problem is that now I don't have energy to do shit. So I had to lower my dose and then get out another SSRI that helps with ADHD and some other shit.
That's a lot of pills, man.
Yeah, a lot of pills.
I don't know. I'm biased. I really don't like that shit.
I am very biased right now. Like to the point where I'm tempted to just say, "Dude, get off them as fast as you can."
Yeah.
Use them for what you need to and get off. I cannot recommend it enough. Like unless you are on like, I'm going to commit suicide. I'm in a very very bad place.
Oh, that was actually me a few months ago. Like it. Well, not. That was me in December, actually.
And again, I'm not a professional. I'm not a healthcare professional, so I can't like attest to any of this. But it's from my personal experience. I like to just be on it for a couple months, get a little bit better, and then get the hell off them because they could do some nasty things to your life, and you can then be hooked on them forever. And then you're paying for an expensive psychiatrist. Like those pills are very expensive to the point where it was like, hey, you don't have health insurance. It's like $200. Oh, you have health insurance? It's like $8. Like that was the jump, and it was just like.
Well, and even beside the expense, like try and stay aware of what it's doing to you as you're taking it, as your personality changes. Try and stay aware of like where you came from and where you're at now after being on these. Because it changes gradually. That's another thing that I think I observed with Raj, is that as he took them for longer, I gotta imagine they increased the dose over time. But
they did until I told them not to. At one point, I was taking 150 milligrams, so like massive pills, or 3 of the normal dosage or whatever that they made, and I would eventually get like I had to tell them straight up like I want to bring it down, I want to get off. I had one relapse where like I had a bad event happen and I like had a kind of a breakdown, and the psychiatrist basically told me, "Hey, why are you wanting to get off pills? You're gonna stay on them forever. Like you should be on antidepressant medication forever."
Oh my god.
Yeah, she told me that. Interesting. That was an interesting conversation to hear, and I was like, no, now I'm really done. So I was like trying to lower my dosage for a year until I had a really bad reaction where like it was in class actually. I was in a stats course, and like all of a sudden like this thing hit me, and I was just like freaking out. I couldn't pay attention. I couldn't do it. I had to legit walk out of class and just like pace around outside for like an hour and a half. I couldn't pay attention or anything, and like I had to just like I had to like call doctors and something, be like, I need to get off medication right now. I'm done. I can't do it. Like I'm freaking out. I feel like if I'm in even a building, I'm just like claustrophobic. Like the walls are closing, and it's like it was bad. I can't even remember hardly what happened. I just remember just like pacing back and forth in front of the building. Yeah.
Fuck.
and it was yeah.
Shit, I gotta get
So
off this stuff soon.
That was when I did it, and it only takes one because you're taking all these like pills daily, and it's like, oh, this is like a one in however chance, but like you're taking it daily. You're taking this stuff daily. It's a 99% chance today, 99% chance the next time, and the next time, and the next time, and the next time, and the next time.
Like condoms.
And yeah, and we don't make our pills here in America, I don't think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
I'm pretty sure we outsource it.
I don't know. Like,
So,
I'm not gonna tell you to get off them.
yeah, we're not your healthcare.
But especially if you're increasing dose, just try and like remain mindful of how it's affecting, or try and remain mindful of how it's affecting you.
Have someone
over
around.
time.
Have someone around you can tell you. In
Yeah.
that same vein, know that you have doctors who also are incentivized, like psychiatrists are incentivized to keep you on medication. So there's an incentive because they get paid because you're coming in, you're paying them more, especially if you're somewhat wealthy and you can afford to do it.
Yeah,
Like-
my doctor seemed hesitant to prescribe me.
Yeah,
I mean, she
That's
told
good.
me straight up. Like, I asked her, "How long can I be on this? Like, what is the effects of this medication?" And she told me straight up, "You're not supposed to take this for long term."
yeah,
That's a good
that's
doctor.
good. You do it for very short term. Mine was a little bit more long term about her wants and
Here's some
desires,
pills.
and it was. and also it's kind of interesting because they psychiatrists and psychologists are very, very different, and they have very different training. So
Oh,
you should be aware of like which is which and like what you should be expecting when you go to them. Like a psychiatrist is a medical doctor, so like they do 4 years of med school, they do their postdoc, or not postdoc, I forget what it is, residency. Yeah, it's residency, and then they choose what they want to do. So they'll choose like doing a what's it called? They choose their specialization, essentially what they want to go into. For psychiatry, it's a few year stint or a couple of years, and then they've specialized, and now they're a psychiatrist. So a psychologist, however, like a master's or PhD, gets an undergraduate degree of some kind, probably in psychology. Like I'm not, but I got a minor in it, so close enough. And if they want to deal with patients, then they go into a master's, and most likely it's going to be a PhD in clinical psychology, because master's just doesn't cut it these days, because like so many people have a master's degree that it's just kind of useless. You may not get hired. It's really kind of scary with how many psychologists we have. So you get a PhD in psychology and clinical psychology. I even think they are a little bit over. That there's too many of them, oversaturated. So you have like how many years of studying various types of psychology? You've done a thesis on it. You spent like most of your life on psychology, but you're not a medical doctor, so you can't prescribe pills. So you want to attack problems very differently with a psychiatrist. People are coming to you because you can prescribe them medication. And so you're going to run into a lot of people just kind of using you for that and going in for that. And in medicine, there's a lot of people who will sue you. So, and there's also a book like the DS5 that kind of prescribes what is what and defines various things. So if you're a psychiatrist, like you have some wiggle room, but you have to like follow in line with what people want, because people will sue you for, hey, they didn't give me this drug. I said I had depression. They confirmed it, and they didn't give me medication for it. They didn't do this. So it's like, you have disease X. Well, you're prescribed drug Y, not drug Y. Go to drug Z, and it's kind of formulaic. It's very cookbook. Like medicine is becoming more and more cookbook. And you have special interest, drug interest. You got a lot of stuff getting involved, and it's and then you have the fact that there's not a lot of psychiatrists out there. Psychologists, there's a ton of them. Psychiatrists, because it's a full medical doctor, not a lot of them. And the waiting time to get in to see one of those people is immense. So it's
Not to be
It's a
too
scary.
mushy.
It's scary.
Yeah, not to be too mushy about it. But like a month after Raj got off the antidepressants and we hung out, it was actually a very weird experience because like I had been talking to Raj for all of these years as he's like progressively changed, and people change over time. Like you're not the same person you were in high school. So in some ways, it was almost like he was just changing in college. Whatever the hell, and throughout high school. So and it was incremental as well. But then when I hung out with him, like a month after he was off of antidepressants, it was weird because it was almost like talking to a Raj that was back almost like a decade in some ways. Yeah, it was really weird.
It's also bad because it's like, oh, you like it's kind of like being in stasis because if you don't feel a lot of emotions, then you don't know how to handle it.
You don't emotionally develop.
Situations that you were able to deal with when you were on medication, now it's much harder because you've got
Coping.
action that. Yeah, so it's like in some ways it's like, oh yeah, he's back, and in other ways it's he's back. Holy, he hasn't mentally
progressed.
Yeah, he has to escalate real quickly into like you have to learn to figure out what's happening, emotionally mature real quick.
Talking about girls like a grade schooler talks about girls.
Yeah,
you have all these anxieties, and then you have basically this emotional grade schooler that needs to cope with adult life. Not to insult Raj too much.
No. Like, remember when I was talking to that one chick and like how I was acting?
Oh yeah, you were like a nervous grade schooler. It was endearing on one hand, but also very.
I'm 23. I've graduated. I'm 22. Like, I've graduated. What the hell?
That's the thing with ADHD medications, and why I think it's pretty brutal that it gets prescribed even for more mild cases of ADHD, because you don't learn how to. You can cope with ADHD. Like, I probably had ADHD when I was younger. I mean, the teachers wanted me to get prescribed or like diagnosed with ADHD and prescribed medication for it because I was disrupting their class or whatever the hell. It's like they wanted me to get on those drugs, and if I had, I wouldn't have learned how to cope with the ADHD symptoms, because you can learn how to deal with that stuff and kind of overcome it. But if you go on these drugs, you become stunted and you become reliant on the drugs because you've never learned how to function without them. And
it's also
brutal
worse
too.
The younger you do it, because brain plasticity is the thing. When you're younger, your brain can adapt to a lot of things, wherein as you get older, it just doesn't do that. If you ever look at like people who were born blind, if you see like how their brain is operating and stuff, the vision center of their brains is like completely gone. Like, it's been taken over by the hearing portion or something else. Yeah, it's been repurposed because there's no eyesight. So the brain is like, well, there's no sensory input here, so there's no point in having this. We'll repurpose it to something else. So
real
people
estate.
who are born blind, and they say, oh, I can hear this stuff. I can tell. I can just hear or smell better or whatever. They have more of their brain dedicated to that. They probably can better than you. Whereas if you lose your eyesight, like when you're 15, 20, them's the breaks. You're not.
It's not going to get compensates a bit, but
it does. But like, if you're like 40, there is no compensation. Like, the older you get,
it might slowly over time, but you'll probably die before it actually manages to do it.
So you really don't want to stunt your brain early. Like, any drugs, unless it's like absolutely 100% necessary. Taking drugs as a kid is just like the biggest no to do.
Honestly, I feel like for ADHD, it's like when a kid's misbehaving in class, the teacher's like, "Oh, put him on the fucking drugs because I don't want to deal with them."
Right.
Teachers aren't educated, so
But then they do get prescribed the drugs, especially because like the teacher tells the parents like, "Hey, get your kid on these drugs. I don't want to deal with them anymore." I'm probably not being generous to teachers, but fuck it.
No. This is a very anti-US teachers place.
Yeah.
We have me on. I'm just like, no, teachers and asses. Screw these, they suck.
Yeah. And
I have not a lot of what is it, pride in the elementary education people and the education majors. So, and this is generalities. This is not everyone. This is not you as an individual, but just as a general overarching. Not very impressed.
trying
And
to
I
make
met
this.
enough.
Don't try and make the school system a factory, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't like that.
But that's
Reminds me
all
of
they
Pink
know.
Floyd. Dude, that's why Pink Floyd The Wall still hits. Like, that album still hits with our generation. And probably will with the next generation, because, like, that's one of the main themes in it.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, that album that was made quite a long time ago, still very resonant. This brings up issues that are still just super relevant to today.
I actually love John's perspective because he was in education for a little bit. He was thinking about being a teacher and he left. He's a pretty moderate dude. You know, he's left leaning or like, you know, pretty moderate. Just very tries to like think and understand and like not take too aggressive a tone with anything. Dude, when he was talking about it, he was like, these people are some of the most like on you liberal people you'll ever meet, and it's scary. Just like when people are talking, like say when conservatives say, hey, these people are all liberals, they're brainwashing, it's like, have you met all these people before? Like, kind of true. Like, not to give some of those crazies like, you know, so, like to prop them up. It's like, yeah, you're right, but like teachers are kind of crazy.
Can be.
It's pretty easy to get into a teaching degree. Like when I'm joking and saying they're not educated, I'm only kind of joking because it's pretty brain dead. And I don't care which elementary education major comes at me and yells at me and says, my homework is just as hard as a physics lab. I'm not going to believe them for a heartbeat. That was actually a thing. People were doing that.
Maybe it's as hard for a grade schooler as physics is for a college student. You could argue that.
Maybe like if you could get through elementary education major like being like drunk and high, going to class, paying attention, go to office hours, you'll pass. Like if you just do the mundane BS that they require you'll probably pass. Like just from the few classes I heard from John where it was like, no, it's not about the topic. It's not like it's a hard topic. It's like you just need to do it in this specific way that this teacher likes, and if you do it, you'll pass, and if not, you'll fail.
And to a certain extent, honestly, like the amount of work that they still are not compensated for the amount of work they put in.
No, they're not.
Dude, that's the other side of the coin, man. Is that they get paid so poorly. It would be better financially speaking. I haven't done the math on this, but just like thinking about it and doing some like brief math in my head, you would be better off just working a like shit job, like a food service or like Target, especially Target, man. Target actually pays well for starting employees like on the floor. They're starting as $15 an hour. You would get
pretty good.
Financially, you'd be better off after 4 years doing that than going to college for teaching and getting a teaching job.
Well,
and that would carry you too, because those jobs actually scale better than teaching.
Here's another fun thing to think about too. Most people who go into teaching, they go into like social studies teaching or like something like that. There is an overabundance of like social studies teachers and English teachers. There's an underabundance, like there's just a drought in math teachers. So like if you're a social studies teacher, it's like get in line. There was a dude I knew at Iowa State. He was the one of the few there's just a few math education people. He's like, yeah, I already have one lined up. They legitimately contacted me. They have me lined up and they want me to take over as the new math teacher of this high school. Just straight up the new math professor of the high school. And he's gonna go straight out of college and go do that. Like,
and he was not a specialist for math, was he?
I mean, he got a math degree, and he actually did do some of the harder classes. So it wasn't just like kind of taking he actually did take some like.
But still, straight out of college, he was the head of the math department.
or something like that. That's what he made it
dang.
seem like. It was just like, we're waiting for you to come in, finish up school so you can get over here and teach math. We're holding this position straight up for you. And it's like, wow.
Well, and, like,
there are no math teachers in the U.S.
I can't be surprised because I want to cycle back because it's just crazy how little they get paid.
It says that the national or that the average in our state for teachers is $57,000 for their salary.
And
we're in a really good state though.
And that's average. That's not starting average.
Oh,
yeah, starting. That's median.
Starting
median
average.
Yes, that's like all-time average. And that's still not good for a 4-year degree. That's so you spend 4 years in college. What is it? Approximately $20,000. Is it a year? Shit,
yeah, about a year. 20, and that's at a cheap school.
$20,000 a year.
$20,000 a year times 4, $80,000 total.
Yeah. Okay, so
Holy shit.
You spend $80,000 to get that degree. Whereas someone that works, say Target. Let's just take Target as an example. I'm gonna get on my calculator because I'm a little bit tipsy right now. $15 an hour, 40 hours a week,
600.
Wait, what? Yeah, 600. Times roughly 4 weeks in a month. Times 12 months in a year. You make 28,000. Really 29,000 pretty much a year because you probably can work overtime because they pay overtime and that's actually even double. But whatever, not factoring that in. Let's just say 29,000 a year starting. All right, times 4 years. You could make $115,000 in that 4 years instead. Okay, and yeah, I'm not accounting for rent or whatever the hell. So I'm leaving a lot out, but you're also still paying rent while you're in college. So,
oh yeah, and they may jack up the prices depending on what school you're in. If they know you're a college town and stuff, they may.
You make more in those 4 years than the college student spends by quite a bit. The college student spent $80,000. You probably got raises during that time and promoted, especially if you work there for all 4 years. You probably got promoted unless you were like doing a really crap job and got raises.
And then there's like loans because not a lot of people can do that out of pocket immediately. So then there's interest on that you get to pay back, and on a teacher's salary that can be very difficult to do.
Yep. You get screwed financially. You would be better off going and working at Target financially than going for a teacher degree.
The good thing about a teacher.
4-year degree. That's also 4 years of your life that you spend in college.
The good thing about
insane to me. That's crazy.
You know, like go ahead.
The one benefit of a teaching degree is the after set because you get like there are benefits like teaching benefits afterward, like after you retire and stuff. So like silver linings, I guess. But
way in the future, man.
You know.
And you don't get to invest as early if you're a teacher. The thing about the Target employee, depending on your situation, of course, you may be able to start investing money. And then that scales at 13%, roughly. 7 to 13%, probably closer to 13 in the stock market. And you start doing that earlier than the college student. And that scales over time really quick. So you get a 4-year head start on investing potentially.
Yep.
Shit.
Yeah, it's nuts actually.
Teachers
and, that
get screwed.
Compounds. So on the back end, those 4 years, that's massive.
And you're making positive interest because you invested, whereas the college student, like Raj was talking about, loses percentage because of the student loans. Interest on student loans.
Yeah, they could shaft you on too because that's a thing that happens in the good old US of A. College loans shaft us real badly.
Yeah. It's crazy to me. It's honestly absolutely insane that someone with a 4-year degree is in a worse financial position out of college than someone who went to work at Target right after college, right after high school.
Well, that could be too, like psychologists. Like imagine this: you're a 4-year. I know people that this has happened to, by the way. That's why I can say it. 4-year degree, like psychology. So they got a psych degree. Haven't got into grad school yet, or they will in the future, but like they don't have anything now. What can they do with that 4-year degree? What can you do with a 4-year psych degree? Work at Target. Wait, what?
Or HR departments, oftentimes, from what I understand. Or some
That's
other like basic office job. There's things you can do. Like any kind of 4-year degree opens up some doors, but still,
there's so many psychologists though. There are so many of them. It's just like I'm working at Target,
and you don't have preference over someone who's specialized in that kind of field.
Yeah.
So your best chance is probably HR for like a corporate job with the psychology major. You can probably get an HR job, but.
I'm glad I dropped my dreams. I'm glad I dropped my dream of becoming a psychologist.
Yeah,
I was really interested. I was really interested in that in high school.
Honestly, you can do it on your own time. Learn that shit, and then maybe someday go back to college and get it, like knock it out in 2 years after you know it all.
Well, it's masters and PhD too. There's an overabundance, so like. It might be difficult finding. I'm not saying impossible, but it's a little bit more difficult finding jobs as a psychologist. Not as bad as a math person. If you have a PhD in math, apparently it's impossibly hard to find a position.
It's probably why most colleges have free psychologist consultations.
Yeah.
That's a very common thing at college. I wonder if just there's so many. A lot of the psychologists that work at colleges too came from that college.
No, well, you have to pay them. If you have a PhD, you have to be paid a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
So those people, even if they're like, oh, on college and there's an overabundance, they still ain't cheap because.
Well, they're normally the psychologists that are like doing free consultations for students or whatever. They're not PhD. They're like masters. They're psychologists, not psychiatrists.
I think I had mostly PhDs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn, I was popping, dude. Shit.
I think so. I don't know. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe some of them were masters, but
I would imagine so. That's a lot of money. Otherwise,
it is. Yeah. That's why they were restricting it too. Like you could only do a certain amount of therapy at Iowa State. Like from what I understand, they would make exceptions, of course, like if something was happening and stuff. But it was a bi-semester thing, and they really wanted you to it was every 2 weeks you would come in and see someone, and if you did it for more than 2 or 3 semesters, they wanted you to go and see a outside professional psychologist or psychiatrist.
At my school there was a limit per semester. You could only go in I think it was once a week. But but there was no semester limit. They were also always packed. It was actually hard to get in there because there were a lot of people going.
Oh yeah, that's another thing too.
I wonder if everyone on this podcast has seen a psychologist before. I don't know about John or Matt.
I don't think John has, no.
Yeah, John's super chill, man.
I've also seen him working on papers and not being able to do it and just being I'm just not feeling it, man. I just can't do it. I can't muster the energy.
Wait, what did he major in?
He was a history major.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. That's why we always dedicate every political or historical thing goes to him. He's our expert.
History is his speciality.
Yes. Whereas we had just a bunch of boring number people.
Yeah, we're just Raj and I are just number people. And I guess this time we did psychology. You're a psychology guy. You know that shit. And philosophy.
I'm a glorified statistician is what I am.
Hey.
My title will be
I can probably hold you in higher regard for that than a psychologist.
I'm neither of those things. I just sit here and exist.
You do architecture. You do art. Art's dope.
That's true. You know, one of the unfortunate things about graduating is that I know barely anything about my field. I don't know shit.
Yep.
That's normal.
I'm
That's
so
college.
anxious.
That's literally
normal.
any major. I swear to God.
I just felt like I haven't learned anything,
Yep.
and I
Yeah.
retained nothing.
Yep. Don't stress. That's literally. So when you get your first job, let's say you get like you go to an architecture firm, right, and you get a job
Yeah.
with them.
A design firm, landscape design firm.
Your first 3 months are probably going to be training, and they're going to teach you everything you were supposed to learn in college over again.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Don't like honestly, our education system's so trash that businesses expect college grads to not really know anything, and they pretty much just need to teach you from the ground up.
Well, I
No,
think
it is good.
they at least expect you to know some general knowledge or just
Terminology.
like the basic idea, just familiarity of certain topics.
Yeah, they want you to have at least seen these things before, but they really
Yeah.
don't expect much from you. And if you just pay attention, you'll probably be able to catch on. At a good place. At a bad place,
Now
they
they're-
might just be like, "Hey, pick this up and go," and then you can just figure it out as you go along. And they expect you to fuck up a bit, but
I mean, that's what one of my former managers did. She started her own landscaping firm before graduating, and she just learned on the go.
yeah, then you just need to be prepared to fuck up a bit.
Yeah.
But
Now,
yeah.
there is something that college does prepare you well for. It does prepare you pretty well for graduate school. Because
Mm.
who are the people, like, it's like, okay, you go to college to learn electrical engineering. Well, who's going to hire you? A company. So there's a little bit of a disconnect just between, like, a college and a company.
different.
You can't keep up to date. But with going to graduate school, like being a scientist, it's like a physicist or a chemist or something. It's like, yeah, we know exactly what you should be learning or what you should need to know and how you're going to go, because who's the one that's going to train you for this PhD stuff? We are. We know this because we're going to be the ones hiring you. So there's not that disconnect there.
Mm.
Yep. Interesting.
Well,
But yeah, you do forget everything. It's kind of sad.
Well, I'm still
I don't
trying
know,
to just go through old notes, read some old textbooks, and I was networking last week and talked to an employer, and he recommended that I take the Minnesota Nursery and Landscape certification test. And then basically it just provides like a textbook of everything that I was taught in college. And then all I have to do is just take a test and I get my certification to be a professional.
I have a lot of tests left to take.
yeah, you do. About
I
4
have.
more years, right?
Well, it depends. So, like, if you look at like regular psychology, this is actually really strange to me. Most psychology people don't take tests for their classes. Like when I asked about graduate school for them, it's like, oh, you do a lot of papers and a lot of like research or just like reading papers and stuff and like compiling information. You don't take tests. It's not like it happens, but it's not like every semester. Oh, I know these finals are coming up.
Weird.
For me, I will be because mine's like stats. So it's gonna be it's more like a stats department or a stats type thing. So it's gonna be like, yeah, you're taking a test on it. You better know how to do it. Figure it out. And then I have qualification exams. We always talk about education. Whenever I get on.
I know. Dude, education just pisses me off so much.
I hate it. I swear, if we ever take off, a bunch of education people will eventually watch this and go like, Jesus Christ.
Just how much better it could be makes me
That's the
angry.
infuriating part. How much better.
It could be so much better.
But it's not.
Like if the teachers gave even half a fuck.
Well,
it
if
really doesn't help because we also like rag on teachers specifically for most of the times that we're ragging on education. We're specifically talking about the teachers.
It's not their fault completely.
True.
I have brought this up quite a few times. It is not their fault completely. The system is set up this way, and like they're being shafted. And we brought up the fact that they are also getting shafted, and that
Oh yeah.
hey, there's no prestige, there's no money, so of course you're not going to get good people who actually care and want to do this. So
it's not just
rewarding
no money, man.
mediocrity.
It's effectively negative money.
It's just not good. It's poor. It's disgusting. There's no way to get good people or get any of that shit. It's just bad.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, that sounds like the most depressing career.
It is. It's absolutely depressing. It's just awful.
It's most soul crushing.
You gotta, if you have half a brain, you need to know that you are one of the most important careers for a civilization to progress successfully, while at the same time being rewarded less than pretty much any career in that society that you
no, not always, because there are European places where they reward their teachers.
I'm talking about
very
US
well.
though.
US, you are not rewarded for anything.
You need to know that you are probably one of the most crucial careers in the society, while you're also not you're it's a negative. Yeah, you're negatively incentivized to go into it.
And you're basically brainwashing kids because you don't know anything and you don't know how to teach.
I should have said this. I should have recommended all potential teachers just to start a YouTube channel and teach their stuff that way.
No, because then we can get better people. Like, why would I want a regular education person when I can get a math person to teach math and teach basic algebra?
Honestly, that's what Khan Academy is, though, dude.
Yeah. Why the hell would I ever want a teacher to do it when I can get dude, this guy's got a master's degree in math. Fuck this teacher. They don't know shit.
That is Khan Academy, though, dude. That is legit my entire... well, I didn't really study in high school. But, even in college, Khan Academy was better than a lot of my college professors. And I used Khan Academy throughout all of college, and it was very, very helpful. And I was like, why am I bother going to lecture? I literally understand this better. Half the time. In 30 minutes, I can learn a topic better than I do in an hour of lecture in college. Why am I going?
Well, there's also something to be said about, I need to learn this, because, I would watch a lecture, this happened last semester, actually. I would watch this lecture for my psychometrics course, and I didn't give two shits, and I didn't pay attention. But then when the test came out, and I needed to study and stuff, I would rewatch it. I was paying, super close attention to everything.
True.
So it's, just the fact that I need to have this done now, because I have something to do, it's just well, I guess I'm doing it.
You get her done. Yeah, the internet's gonna get more and more sophisticated in terms of an educational tool, and I'm excited for that.
It better be. Education teachers in this country are just so outdated and so lackluster, and they're not trained well. They're not given resources. They're not given prestige. They're not as intelligent as they need to be, and then they're heavily incentivized for one political group.
How are they incentivized exactly for?
Because every single one of them are all in the same fucking political party. If this was
social,
to John.
It's a social incentive then.
Yeah, it was just John was looking around and going, Jesus Christ, this is scary how liberal these people are. It's not oh, they're liberal, big deal. No, it's holy shit, this is scary.
Everyone
maybe those
has the party line.
Maybe those conservatives that were talking about the teachers brainwashing kids, maybe they had a point. Holy fuck, listening to these people talk is...
I mean, the amount of feminism that I went through, even just for example, the English department, every single book we read in English was... We at least for one day, we talked about it from the feminist perspective. Every book.
I never had that.
Really? I was also not an AP... Until senior year, I took an AP English, but even then, it was from. I don't know how you avoided that, to be honest, because even in AP, it was still from the feminist. At least a day.
In high school, I don't remember anything about the feminist perspective.
Really, freshman year, I think I learned about lenses, and one of the lenses that we were taught to read books through was the feminist lens.
Don't remember that.
Huh.
Maybe also I was taking regular English and didn't give enough of a shit about it that I never paid attention.
I took regular English freshman year.
I was in accelerated English, and we had a lot of that stuff.
I don't remember this. I don't remember any of this.
You don't remember
We
shit,
had
Raj.
This is also very
true. We had to do summer reading for this one book about this. I think it took place in the late 1800s, but basically this woman lived in the South. She has this really loving husband and, 2 kids, and she's really unhappy with their life. And then, goes on an affair with some young dude, and then she gets so afraid with all the repercussions because it's society's fault. She goes on and decides to drown herself. And that's the story.
Good for her. One less annoyance. At this point, it's so bad. Like if on the internet now, at this point, I'm so jaded that it's like, hey, this so and so was cheating. Who did he cheat or she cheat on with? Another consenting adult. Oh, that's not too bad. At least they didn't sleep with a kid. Because that's all I'm hearing nowadays. It's like, oh, he was predatoring on little children. She was going after like 16 or 17. It's like, at this point, it's like cheating is just like, not the worst that could happen.
Very true.
That is really scary.
Oh, they don't have literal bodies of children in their basement? That's pretty good.
Yeah. They weren't predatoring on a 17-year-old. I mean, using their influence to go after little kids, essentially, and teenagers in high school. Not the worst that could happen. It was just cheating. I mean, like, get over. Like, God, wait a minute, just cheating. Oh,
everyone
God.
does that.
God,
that's just
I'm
Hollywood,
jaded.
Man. Fuck it.
Well, in Hollywood, that is just kind of true.
Yeah.
For a liberal bastion, they do some shady shit. Oh,
they must
God.
all have herpes, dude. All of Hollywood.
LA just sounds like a shithole that's never going to recover.
Well, like, even, like, young, like, teenagers and stuff, it's like, you hear some of the behind stories, like, the Brady Bunch. Apparently, there were episodes and stuff where, like, had to be cut and various parts cut out because, like, the actor would come on, and he was a kid, he was, like, 14, and he was just wasted. Like, just shit-faced.
Holy shit.
And, like, then there was, like, this one chick, like, the eldest girl was, like, started having sex with the eldest guy, and then, like, was snorting cocaine, and then, like, had to get an abortion. It was just, like, how old is she? Oh, she's, like, 15.
That is so fucked up.
What the fuck? Guys! Like, I can only imagine the type of bullshit that's happening at, like, Nickelodeon and stuff with their teen stars and stuff. And then take into account that they're teenagers. They don't know anything. They're morons.
No, there's definitely been some shit at Nickelodeon. Especially that one. Who's that? That one creator for Drake and Josh and iCarly.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking. I don't remember the name. Yeah, he was super predator.
Yeah, and he like snuck in some of his fetishes onto the episodes.
Yeah,
like, he was a foot fetishist.
Yeah, that's.
He would have like. Yeah.
I think I remember seeing in like Drake and Josh where the sisters like painting her toenails, and that scene is just fucked now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's like a normal
and she's
thing.
Just
it's like
casually doing it in the background, like like a normal thing, because it is a normal thing. But now you know. Now you know. He probably watched that scene later that day and was like, "Yeah, fuck you, man."
Yeah, there was
Jesus Christ.
And like for another show, I think it was called Victorious. Like
God.
they had like I think this clip was uploaded onto the website instead of the show, but they had like one of the characters doing her own little podcast in her bedroom, and then she was doing very questionable things, like, drinking a water bottle lying upside down like she's giving someone a blowjob.
Jesus Christ.
It was so messed up.
And that is a normal thing. Drinking a water bottle upside down, that's not a big deal. But if it's like, oh, the director is pervy, okay, now it's just like, I'm just seeing it everywhere.
Yeah, now I know. Why that scene's in there.
Yeah, it's just like, I've drank a water bottle upside down. That's not a thing. That's not a big deal. God damn.
Oh yeah, the video. It's called Ariana Grande being sexualized on Victorious for 2 minutes straight.
Oh, it's Ariana Grande? Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was on that show.
And then Bill Clinton.
Oh my god, and she's pouring water. Okay, I'm gonna not watch this.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
gonna get
fucked
you
up.
on some watch list, dude.
Like, nope.
Did
Same
you guys
reason
keep-
why.
Did you both look
So-
up the Clinton and Ariana Grande?
Yeah,
No,
yeah, I saw
no,
that. That was
no,
really funny.
I don't need to.
It's hilarious, dude.
I'll absolutely take your word for it.
His
I can
smile.
just imagine.
His smile is so like, oh my god, dude. It's like this little smirk. And it's like front. You can see his front teeth, like, hey. But
God, this is.
You know, at least none of us here watched Cuties.
I did not watch Cuties.
What
Everyone was
what
talking
wait,
about it on
Cuties was
YouTube.
like the
Jesus
the
fucking
12-year-old
Christ.
sexualizing the 12-year-olds, essentially. Was that
Yeah,
the one?
yeah.
Apparently, they showed 12-year-old titties on Cuties.
And crotch shots.
Like, when they showed them, like, bare in that movie.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how the hell they got away with that. But apparently they did. Apparently that's not illegal.
Child pornography.
Yeah, I
You-
would
you know
think it would be. But apparently they did.
You know what the
I-
dumbest thing about the movie is? The message of the movie was child exploitation is bad.
Yes, that's how they got away with it. That's how they got away with a lot of it. It's like we're just trying to show child exploitation, but like you're making a movie by exploiting children about it. Like you're part of the problem here.
The irony.
Like
So
Or is
bad.
that
It's not even-
or is
it's not
that
even irony.
unironic?
it's not even ironic because it's just like, oh, we need to come up with a way to get around this. It's about how bad it is. Yeah, now we can do it. So it's just like an
Well, then, like,
excuse.
the director pointed to all of that criticism as, like, see, this is, like, exactly what I'm talking about, is that everyone's, like, sexualizing this.
Yeah, because it is.
Yeah, like,
It is sexualized. Like
the director's like, this is just evidence of what I think is wrong, is that people are finding this sexy when it's obviously not. It's like, no, I feel like you found this sexy, you disgusting person. What the
you're
fuck?
a pervert. How do you?
Ah.
This is on par with like the porn star whose parents were like filming her and like giving her pointers.
Oh my
What
god.
the fuck?
That was a thing. That was a thing. A porn star literally had her parents like as her agents, and then they would give her tips and stuff and film her.
Dude, you know they groomed her.
Probably.
You know they groomed her
Rob.
when she was a kid.
Probably.
That is so messed up.
That is like,
Guys,
how do you
Jesus
look at your
right.
how do you look at your daughter and be like, okay, you should be moaning more and like we need to see your pussy more, like
yeah,
know,
you gotta
like
spread
take a
that
good
ass
shot.
cheeks more. Gotta show that rosebud.
Oh my god.
Have you guys heard
See, this
of
is why. No, this is what the world should be. The morals of the West need to come down. That's the takeaway here. You guys are
I
just
mean-
being oppressive and horrible and awful. These people are making their choices, okay?
Yes. Yes. There's no way that this can go wrong.
The morals of the West are corrupt inherently, and this is the solution. You're holding back progress.
I'm happy to hold back progress if this is what it looks like. This I'm
Wait,
happy
hey.
to do it.
But there was this porn star. Have you ever heard of Mercedes Carrera?
Nope.
Okay, she was a YouTuber back in the mid 2010s. She like made a lot of like anti SJW videos, anti feminism videos. Been on a lot of different podcasts. Hung out with the Amazing Atheist a couple times. Blah blah blah. And I watched her and I was like, huh, she seems pretty cool. Blah blah blah. But then we've all found out that she's a fucking meth addict and took part in molesting a child.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dude, I remember before.
with the guy, and then it was just enjoyment. If it was just a guy, he was just enjoying it.
Yeah, it was a little girl.
So close.
I think
Well, then it's
I
horrible.
think
Yeah,
I
now
think
it's
it was like her and her boyfriend were I think they were like trying to make her perform on camera or whatever, and then like sexually assaulted her, something. She's still in jail.
Yeah, you know what people don't like? People who diddle kids.
Yeah.
Unless it's a female teacher diddling a little boy, and then it's,
No, No. I'm talking prison. You know what prisoners hate? You know what they fucking hate? You
Child
diddling.
diddlers.
They hate cops, and if you diddle a kid. So if you're a cop, or if you've done something to a child, they will absolutely beat and rape the shit out of you. If you diddled a kid, and if you're a cop who did all that, then you're just dead.
I haven't. I haven't seen the show yet, so I guess I can't judge it too hard yet. But there's this show on Hulu that is like
Steven Universe.
No. It's a show about a teacher that diddles a kid. A high school teacher that diddles a high school boy.
If it was a high school girl, then it was like Pretty Little Liars. That's the premise of that show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This girl is like 18. She apparently had her early birthday. Used a fake ID to get into a bar, slept with the dude, and then discovers the dude is her teacher for the next year. And that's the beginning of the show. And then at the very end, I believe in the finale, they get married.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
What the fuck is up with it being fine with teachers diddling their students? Why is that fine?
I don't know.
What the fuck? Well, on that note, we're actually at time, so I think we're gonna call it for today. But thanks for listening, everybody. Have good luck on your tests or whatever the hell you're doing in life. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.